anyone who's looking at the cryptocurrency market right now saying, okay, we are still close to $1.2 trillion and the market is slowing down. But XRP is trying to push higher. It is testing that level of resistance. Anyone who has looked at these already is trying to put that narrative in mind, like, okay, we are breaking through. Yes, you can look at these and say on the short-term horizon, these are the resistance we have, but the market gives us the idea that it is about to move higher, and it is our duty to put our time in and learn from the history so that we have an edge on the market. This is something we dropped when the price of XRP was like 0.37, saying, okay, I think this is the case. Now, being all in, on the XRP guy, I was trying to say like, okay, keeping all bias away, XRP is trying to make a classic Wyckoff pattern. That means you are trying to push higher. And where are we right now? I know the thought process out there in the market is like, okay, we may drop, we may go back down, put a new lower low. Now, literally, it's our job to look at what the market is doing and look at what the macro is like, because that is certainly something we have to look at right now. From the housing market to the dollar to the entire economy and towards how big institutions are entering crypto, it is now at a level which we haven't seen before. And that is happening at a time when you see volume moving around in the market. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% in crypto. Now, those who have already seen this from March 13, they already understood like, okay, we are following this trend line. Now we are moving as per that pattern. But what's even more interesting is like on a daily chart, we are still putting in a higher high and higher high. And that is interesting. Why? Because when we look at the candle closes in the recent rally in this year, we just closed about this one. And yesterday, when we started the next leg up, I was saying, okay, we are about this level, guys. Understand the narrative, like, okay, people may say you may go down, but the market is showing the other side. The market is literally showing we are trying to push higher. Now, do I expect we are going to blast off? It may happen. But right now, we are testing a resistance. Right? So breaking through that is the most important part, which is not going to be easy. But the fact that the RSI is starting to give us a little bit of divergence makes me think like, okay, what usually happens when we get the first level of divergence? Not all the time market corrects immediately. That's something we all have to keep in mind, right? Say, for example, you can actually go back in time when we were starting this rally here, right? We'll actually go back in the same scenario to understand what the market was actually showing when it was starting to show us some kind of really big divergence when we were actually running up, right? So while we were starting this run, we actually had a thought process like, okay, the market is actually slowing down. It showed some kind of movement, but it was in line with the price action. So it's like, okay, the price action is saying we are slowing down, but you still don't see a big correction because you are just starting to run up after a major correction. That is the reality here, right? You are going through that level. So now we come back here and look at the exact same thing. The candle is not closed yet. We are still having that amount of bullish volume. The price is slowly pushing to the upside. Now, you go on a macro, the 3-day chart, and this is what we have talked, right? We put enough time and detail in here, talking that, okay, I think this is a big possibility which we should not neglect. Now, remove all this just for clarity. Look at this. Where is the RSI right now? I put enough time here on the level of RSI, trying to highlight that to you guys. Say, this is something huge. Because the RSI reaching above 70s do not usually happen. And most of the time when the RSI is above 76, 77, that's an interesting time to be in XRP, right? You zoom out, you want to see like when we were going through all these, when we are trying to put in a higher high after a break of a bull flag, where was the RSI? That is one of the important question. If it's me, then I would ask the same question, like, okay, we have this pattern here, which is easily identifiable. We broke the moving average, we broke the high, we put in a new high. So compared to this one, it does show us that it is putting in a new high. So great. Now, while we also understand that the market as a whole is not becoming bullish, that needs to be kept in mind. Now, you can either watch that as a positive point or think like, okay, why should I turn positive when the entire market is going negative? You can ask that. And if it's me, I would actually think like, okay, we have like two narratives. One, the market is bad, so we may actually slow down. Or just like as usual, the market is slow and you see assets popping, but here you don't have enough volume, right? The volume is so low, whereas here it's 2 billion compared to those performing assets on the day. You really have limited number of assets with that level of volume. So if you are moving out from one to another asset, looking at which one is moving, literally the monkey jumping, you will also consider XRP because the fundamentals, the volume, the price action, everything is turning bullish. Why would you even avoid that? Now, right now when I'm looking at these, now I'm surprised to see this. Both of these assets, we had our calls and it is moving higher. That's good. Now, what are the priorities? 1, the price action. 2, the volume. And 3, narrative. So the current narrative in the market for each asset should be identified. And right now, the narrative for XRP cannot get better. It's at a point where it's like, okay, we are going to get the case solved soon. We don't know what's going to happen, but the chances are it's going to get the clarity, right? And this is happening when you see gigantic institutions preparing to put their foot inside this. And when they actually put their foot inside, understand this, if they have uncertainty with Ether or any other assets where they are fighting, the CFTC and SEC is fighting, but you still don't have the narrative, right? The code is like, okay, what should I actually listen to? Whether it's the CFTC or the SEC, they're all confused. Like the regulators themselves don't even know what the hell is happening in that country. So right now, uncertainty is still there. But if XRP gets the clarity, the green signal from the code, that is going to show us that next move up is going to be bombarding for XRP. Now, why is that? Understand that when Bitcoin is bouncing from this short-term support, I'm also confused. I'm like, wow, that is like a lot of strength shown by the market. And I'm like, wow, we actually had a corrective signal. We may slow down. We had our thought process. And I told you like it would be really healthy for the market to come back down, hit this level and then go back up. But I also told like, okay, the charts are showing something different, right? Each time you are dropping, there is a lot of buying happening, which is pushing the price back up. Look at the wicks happening at this local support. And one of the points for me, while I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, is like, okay, I do understand the narrative. Like you usually get a 3-wave structure, whether it is like, perfect structure or something like this before you go for a major drop. I showed you the silver, I showed you the gold, all the charts, which also show us the same. Now, what does that really mean? Yeah, we are crossing to the downside, but that doesn't really move the possibility of the third wave in that microstructure. So I'm like, okay, even if we drop a little bit, we still have that third wave coming in, which is now if you put in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the 5th one. But for me, I usually only count the upside. So 1, 2, and 3, because the downside, it's not the impulsive wave of that. It is the buying zone or the corrective wave. So I only count the impulsive one. And right now, it's really, really interesting that we are getting a checkmate pattern in Bitcoin. And that checkmate pattern is breaking higher, or at least trying to break higher while we are doing this recording. If you guys watch the videos regularly, you already know like we had couple of events like this. We were saying, okay, this may actually break to the downside. We go on different assets, come back down, and like, okay, that asset broke to the downside, right? Right now, if you're bouncing, I would say like, okay, the moving average is going to be a resistance to look for. That is 27,670 for Bitcoin. If we get rejected there, it's going to be a panic level, because right now on the short-term chart, I would say like, okay, right now we have an event like this, which is not that bullish. So for us to break this level, to put in a new high, that means this is invalidated. Now, some of the assets show this in the macro structure. That's where, you all know my concern in a lot of different assets when we are looking at them in macro structure, right? Say, you go to Solana, you go look at this pattern, and I'm like, okay, we are not yet making a higher, low structure. So on a monthly, I'm not comfortable. Then I'm looking at it on a weekly, and what I see here is like, okay, we do have a structure, a price action pattern where the possibility is like, okay, you get a head and shoulder, which is breaking to the downside, retesting. Now, if we break this pattern back to the upside, cross the moving average, retest and bounce, okay, that is getting invalidated. I agree. But as of now, if it's me, literally, I want clarity, right? So I'm looking at the chart. Last time we got this in the bull market cycle, we went up. In the bear market, we're going further down. So I'm not comfortable with the assets which are trending lower and not showing you any signs of recovery. Now, why is that so important while we discuss about XRP right now? You go into XRP and this is what you see when you're putting on the same line chart. This is on a daily. For me, that's like, wow, it's a balle movement. You are literally going to the upside, trying to break through these resistance. And remember, this is on a daily where you are at a resistance zone. When you go on to a monthly, this is where you are right now. You are removing the wicks, you are removing the noise in the market to see like, okay, the market is showing a lot of different things. What should I look for? And that is where the macro. Now, remember, this is a monthly chart, which I'm showing you guys. Getting a double bottom confirmed on a monthly chart, you cannot literally neglect the fact that this is happening. Because last time when this happened, if you watched what we were saying here, I know that exact same time. Now, it's YouTube videos. You can literally go back to the time here, July, and observe what we were talking. As far as I remember, I was saying, okay, I'm bullish on this asset because it's doing so. And what happened? You broke higher, you came back, you didn't retest the exact zone, but you retested this one and went up. That's super bullish. And here, we got the ACC coming in, hammering those volatility. But right now, what's more important for us is to look at the fact that the monthly candle is almost about to close. We only have like 2-3 days. And we are here. We already managed to break this. So if we even close at the current range or push higher, that's super bullish, guys. Meaning, I don't know how many of you literally watch these videos every day, but believe me, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, right? I have a lot of different things going on with the CFA, the studies, the family, and a lot of other things. And I'm still trying to give you guys the best understanding which I have. Now, if I think it's going to drop, I'll say it's going to drop. And this is what I told yesterday, ready to shoot up. And day before yesterday, I told XRP is ready. And last 1 week, we are following this. XRP against Ether, breaking higher. That's a bullish thing because the volume is significant, guys. Don't neglect the volume part. It is so important. Then you go on looking at the XRP USD pair. USD is getting hammered on the other end. I don't know how many of you guys actually follow. I know the big accounts in Twitter, YouTube, and all give you the narrative we are going up. But as far as I'm looking at this, you broke the moving average, you retested that, you got rejected, you're dropping. I mean, come on, yeah. How can you even neglect the fact that we are dropping, right? You have support levels for sure, but when you zoom out, the macro is showing you made that. You are coming back down. So that's the reality. Now, while we look at XRP, I'm like, okay, if we are breaking through this level, guys, don't be in that disbelief phase saying we are going to come back down to 0.25. Wow, one of the big YouTubers told this. Come on, leave that. Look at the chart for yourself. Make your own judgment. But look at the important data points. If you are seeing once in a lifetime event happening, don't say no because one guy told you no. Look at the RSI on the weekly for XRP. Or if you find that hard because it's an indicator, forget that. Just go clean the charts. Instead of using a Japanese candlestick, go to a line chart. This is what I see. And I always use Heikin-Ashi to look for the momentum. So if I go into the Heikin-Ashi chart, the momentum is showing me that I broke the moving average, I'm going up, and the RSI is pointing me to the upside. I'm super bullish. But if you want the confirmation of what the strength in the market looks like, just put it here. We talked about this even before we were breaking through this. And that is why I put that much amount of time and effort in the RSI, showing you the macro, the micro, different structures. And I believe it is going to happen, whether we agree or not, whether it takes another week or not, we don't know. But wow, the price action is literally breaking through. It's now at 0.52. So, going to back to the real, now I'm happy that this is happening while we are recording, and we have seen this many times in the market while we were saying this is going to happen because the macro is this, and we come back and see that's bursting, and that's exactly what's happening, right? I'm really happy because this is the monthly chart. I agree that a lot of people will get confused going into a daily chart saying this is a big resistance range, yes, on a short term, but when you go on a macro, you see the resistance level has been broken. You should be bullish here. If not, where are you going to be bullish, yeah? I mean, I know personal friends who have been asking me like, okay, we reached 0.5, should I take the profits out? And I'm like, you held this asset for this long, and you know the potential of this asset. If you are like, okay, I'm happy with this, great, take your profits, move out. If not, guys, be realistic. We put in enough time and effort trying to say that I think we are going to have 8 to 15% day, but I personally thought we may take a couple of weeks, and right now that happened exactly on the same day. So guys, if you're looking for something like this, a regular updates on a different set of assets, now here in the video I share for XRP, but in the Patreon we go through a lot of different assets. Whatever assets you have in your portfolio, let it be Bitcoin, let it be Ether, let it be a small micro nano cap. So the link for that join is in the description below. The Patreon, it's in the description below. What's important here is understanding the macro micro structure. Even if we burst through the resistance level here, understand we'll have a consolidation because that's a micro three-wave structure. Don't go euphoric, don't go chasing the green candle. Always position yourself in a way that you understand the macro structure. You put in your time, you learn, and you adapt. Because it's not when the price is shooting up you make money. It's when you position yourself at the bottom and then have the patience to ride the entire wave up. Remember, when you go back looking at the macro chart for XRP, go back to the time here. Before the drop in the YouTube, November 2020, right? I think it was like, the top, somewhere close to the top, 23 to 30th. I was saying, okay, I'm taking my profits. I think it's going to drop. I didn't know ACC is going to sue Ripple, but that something happened. The price dropped. Here, when we were at the top, now weekly close is 1.5, but the daily close was somewhere close to 1.95. And at 1.91, I was saying, okay, I'm taking some of my trades out in XRP. Now, it was a small percentage of the actual XRP because I've been holding on to this asset and accumulating this asset for so long. I don't want to sell this at this price. $2 is nothing compared to what this asset can do, because as I've repeated, this is a macro pattern which we have broken to the upside. So denying the fact that we broke something after 700 days is going to be so bad. So guys, don't chase the green candles. Be that guy who have the patience to buy the dips. Now, if that pops through to 0.6, don't blame me. The market can be euphoric when this stuff happens, because literally, the way I started this video is the reality. A lot of other assets on the other side of the market is low, and you don't have enough volume. If you are an institution, small family fund, you are looking for something which has a lot of volume, which you can buy slowly, accumulate, or jump into, where you believe, okay, whenever I want to take out the money I can do that because we have that volume. And that in the first 100 is XRP. I'm really happy about that, right? So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.